Alright guys, welcome back. This is going to be part number 11 of Qbert. I am going to first work on making the harness for the control panel. I went online and looked, and the up is red and it goes to the upright side of the joystick. The left, which is a yellow wire on the JAMA harness, goes to the upper left. The orange is the down on the JAMA harness, goes to the down left, and so on. So we need to wire that. We need to wire the player 1 and player 2 buttons. I think first what we'll do is let's do the ground wire first. Let's get that all looped together and around to here. So we'll start on this one here. And I'm soldering all these on because we are going to have a Molex connector, which I'm going to use a different style connector on this because I don't want to use my real good ones. I have some ones from Amazon that I'm going to use, which look like these, which I'll use this for the control panel and the coin door. Maybe I got a 9-pin one here because I need 8 pins for the joystick and buttons. And these have almost like a spade terminal for like a speaker. This is a female and the male side. And they get crimped on just like the regular Molex pins, except for these are just a little bit different style, but these will be more than sufficient for what I'm doing with this cabinet. So now what I'm doing is I'm just cutting the wire as I go all the way around here so that they're not real long and there's not a bunch of slop in the wires extra. Try to make it as clean as I can. And to do this way really doesn't take too much more time than if you just slid the spade terminals on the ends. You know, obviously you don't have to put a connector, but it's nice to be able to take that control panel off if you need to do something rather than having to unplug all the wires to take the control panel off the cabinet. That's the only downfall about JAMA harnesses. Unless you have like a Mortal Kombat or something like that where the factory made connectors for everything. Grab my wire I dropped. Leave a little bit of slack here because I'm going to zip tie all these wires together, and then I'm going to stick one of these to the control panel, and then there's a zip tie that'll go through that to hold it together. So we'll go to here with it. try to get all the wires as close to the same length as I can. And these wires I'm using are just the leftover wires from the player 2 side of the harness that I cut off yesterday. I'm actually going to go to this one first, then this one, and then to the plug. Just give it a nice puddle of solder to hold it in place. We're just going to leave that long for now. Okay, now we're going to go to the joystick buttons. Now I got to kind of flip this back and forth and see which is which. We got to hook up the red wire first. We don't have to, but I'm going to hook up the red wire first. And this one says up and to the right. So up and to the right is there. So it's pushing on this one right here. So this is the micro switch for the red wire. And then it's going to come like this. We want to, just going to leave it long over to there for now. Okay, so I'm going to mark that off. Now we're going to go to the yellow one, which is going to go to the up left, which is, this is the up right. So up left is this one right here. Let me double check. Yep, so this one right here gets the yellow wire. And if for some reason I screw up, we'll just have to unsolder it and spin them around, but hopefully I'll get it orientated right. Oh, excuse me. Just let this over here for now. Make sure the solder's dry. Okay, that one's done. Now we're going to go to orange, which is going to be down left. So down and to the left is right here. So this is our orange. Double verify it. Okay, we have our green, which obviously goes to the last one. All right. So now these 4 are done. Now we need to do the 2 player 1 and player 2 starts, which they're both brown. So I'm gonna have to make sure I put it in the right order when I put my ends into my Molex connector. I guess I could have did one color for one and one for the other, but this will be fine. Okay, I think we're done with the solder gun for now. Turn that off. All right, now I want to zip tie these together. Trying to make them somewhat clean. Stick one of these on. And I'll have to just kind of play with the player 1 and player 2 buttons to make sure that I'm on the right one, or I can use my multimeter with a tone and it'll tell me which is which. Once I finish this side, I'll go and put the end Molex end on the other side in the cabinet. I probably won't record that. It's going to be the same basic thing I'm doing here, just on the other side. Let's do one more right to here. Okay. Now I'm going to cut all these the same length. I don't know if you guys can see. Might have to back up the camera. So now we can start putting our ends on these wires. We need a 9-pin connector. We need a male side and a female side, which is this, just like that. Now, this side gets the male pins, this side gets the female pins. So we'll put the male pins on this. So I need to splice all these. I usually splice these a little bit longer than most people do. I've never had any problem with it. So in this video, I think I'm going to get the control panel wired up, and we will get the any soldering we have to do to the power brick. Because that'll probably take up quite a bit of time between this and that. So we're doing the male ends on these wires. And you just stick these into your tool first, like this, just like that. It holds it in place, and then you stick your wire in here. Crimp it down. I usually crimp it twice, just to make sure that it gets a good tight bond. What I'll do is I use the biggest setting first, and then I go to the middle one, just to tighten it up. Because that's the first crimping, and you can see it's a little loose around there. So once you get the second one in, tightens it right up. You can buy these on Amazon. That's where these terminals came from. The other ones I bought off of eBay, and then I've ordered some from Arcade Shop. But Arcade Shop, everything's individually. On eBay, I had bought a kit that had a bunch of different Molex ends on them. Or not on them, in the kit. When I put the ends on the other one, other side for the cabinet, I'll videotape me putting the wires into the plug end. I just won't show the crimping process. What do we need here? Am I missing a wire? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there's 7 wires. I thought for some reason there was 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So I need 3 more of these ends. Then I'll grab my multimeter and we'll just figure out which one's player 1. Then we'll mark it on the plug grab my multimeter real quick. It's right over here. Okay. Player 1's at the top. This one's player 1. For now, I'm going to take my Sharpie and put a line on it. And I know that's player 1. So now let's slide these ends into this plug. I think what we'll do is we'll go kind of in order here. Make sure I put them in the right direction. And we're going to mark on here that this is player 1 with the line. And what we'll do is do a corresponding line on this, which you shouldn't have to because that's lining it up, but I'm going to do it so I know reference when I go to put the wires in this side. Because that'll be player 1. Let's just go ahead and put player 2 right below it. Okay. Now it really doesn't matter what order I go in. Let's just go ahead and put the ground below the player 1 and player 2. And then let's go okay, so we are done with that. I think I'm going to put one more of those these holders on here. Hold the wires right here. Okay, now I'm going to go off camera, put all the ends onto the cabinet wire side, and then we will come back and put the ends onto that. Okay, I have all the ends on the wires on this side. I'm just going to take this control panel and just set it up here for now so that we can line up the wires. I found player 1 start and I put a mark on it with my marker. It's this one right here. So now we know that when these are together, this is my player 1 right here. Okay, and then right below it goes player 2. Then our ground. I zip tied those wires together too, going down into the cabinet. Okay, so now we have those. Now we go red on the top, middle, orange next to the red, and then the next one down, it goes green and then yellow. Okay, so we're not going to really permanently plug it together now, but this is all you got to do. So we're nice and set up. So that's done. So let's take this control panel off. You know, let's do the coin door wires next. Might as well get those out of the way now. So let me get this lowered and in place, and we'll work on those next. Okay, let's work on these coin wires. So in this plug right here, this is coin 1, ground, 12 volts. This is coin 2. There's extra ground wires, we do not need them. 4 prongs. Let me see if I have a 4-prong connector. I do here. So I think we'll just eliminate the other ground wires because we do not need them. So we'll just put these back in the cabinet. Actually, we'll use one for the service switch and stuff, so we will need them, but we don't need them over here by the coin door. So these I'm going to cut down here so I have a little bit more length so I can tie them up in the cabinet and keep them out of the way. Obviously the game is not powered on right now, but I did just cut the 2 greens at the same time, but this one's coin 1 right here. Let me find my marker. Put a dash mark on this for coin 1. Okay. So we're going to use a 4-pin connector, and we will do the same situation that we did on here. We'll put the females on the cabinet side and the males on the coin door side. So let's get these on. These are going to be the females. I crimp these better when I'm on camera. When I'm off camera, I screwed up 2 of them. It's usually the other way around. Okay, now I want to use my multimeter here and check these wires to make sure we don't need an extra ground for the light bulbs. So first, they have this, they must have had the 2, I don't know what they did here, but we're going to fix all this. But let's see where this black wire leads. Let's see if this is the ground for everywhere or not. Okay, this is my ground for everywhere. I'm gonna leave that cut there for now. It's the solid white wire. Then let's separate these 2. Just to see what these are. I'm thinking one's for one coin switch and one's for the other. I'm gonna have to cut them again, but I'm gonna splice them for now so I can get this meter on them. This one has a yellow and black stripe, which goes to this one here. Make sure it does not go to this one. Does not, so now let's try this one. Okay, they had them tied together. So white and brown. White and brown is going to be, we'll call that number 2. And then the white and black is number 1. Now we need to find the power for the light bulb, which should be this red one right here. Let's get rid of some of these zip ties. That went flying. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, this one should be the power for the bulbs. Perfect. Now there's a 5th wire, which looks like we don't need it, so we're not going to worry about that one. So we're going to cut all these to the length of this red wire. Right there. Now we'll get these stripped. And we'll put our male ends on these. These older wires are so much nicer. They're so much thicker than these new stuff. This one's bent. There we go. Oh, might have a messed up one. No, I think I got it. All right. These ones only need crimped once because the wire is thicker. But I think I might have jammed it in here, trying to crimp it a second time. There we go. Okay, our solid white one is our grounds. So let's put our ground here. Doesn't really matter. Let's make that our ground. No, I'm gonna put it down here. I don't want to clip it. Oh, it's upside down. Okay, there's my ground. This is my 12 volts. Then I need a coin 1 and a coin 2, which will put the coin 2 next to the 12 volts. And we'll put coin 1 next to the ground. So now when we put these ones on, let's get our ground first, which is white. The white and red is our 12 volts, which goes below it. Get these out of the way. Okay, now next to the ground is our number 1, which is going to be this one here, which is our, I forget, black and white. Yep, I wrote it down. I'm an idiot. Black and white is 1. So that'll go here. Coin 2. So now we have these wired up. So these two will be able to plug together. Just like this. Not plugging anything together yet because I want to route all the wires nice and neat. Let me go get some light bulbs for these. Gotta find some 12 volt light bulbs, which I think I have some automotive ones that are good for up to 14.4 volts. Okay, I got some bulbs here. The ends on these are a little bit fatter, but they should work just fine. These are 1895 bulbs. They handle 12 volts to 14.4 volts. So if I need to get different ones, I can, but these seem to fit all right. I might try to find some skinnier ones so they can slide in the hole a little farther, but we'll wait and see what these look like. Okay, so for now we're done with the coin door. So now I'm going to get the cabinet spun around. Let's just continue on with the wiring. Let's get the service switch and stuff hooked up. So then that's done. And then we'll see how I'm doing time-wise. Maybe we'll end this video there. We'll pick up the next one with putting the rest of the power brick together and soldering any wires I need to solder onto that. And then at that point, we can start getting everything plugged in and tested. Okay, I got the cabinet spun around. I need to figure out what wires go to these two switches. Not going to worry about the volume pot because it's not going to work. So this is our test switch, service switch. Now by looking at it, it looks like the straight white wire is our ground. So I need to find that first. Okay, our white wire is our ground. Next to it is a white and yellow. Okay, white, yellow, and blue. That is our service switch. And then we got to find our test switch. Okay, so now I got to find a 9-pin Molex connector and 3 pins because we only need 3 pins: ground, service, and test. So here are our wires right here. Let me grab some zip ties too. I want to zip tie some of this up. Okay, let me zip tie some of these wires up here. Just try to clean this up a little bit. Good for now. So now what I'm going to do is cut these 3, cut them right here. This is a different style Molex end. It's like this. So I have this old one here that I cut. So I think what I'm gonna do is just splice these together, and just leave the extra wires in case somebody needs them in the future. So I think I'm just gonna plug that in, and we'll just splice these two together. And we could just kind of keep it out of the way some. These wires are a little thicker on here, but it's not going to hurt anything. So let me grab a couple crimp connectors. We're just going to crimp connector them together. Okay, so now I use my multimeter again. So figure out what's what. I don't know which switch I should use for service. I think the service switch, test switch should be the one that you flip, I think. This one. I think it's this red wire right here. I guess if I'm wrong, I'll just have to move the two pins around. We're going to put orange on this one. These are shrink tubes, so we'll heat them afterwards and shrink them on. The ground is white, which of course there's no pin on that one. So I'm going to have to move a pin over. Okay, so let's do our other service switch then, which is the blue and yellow, which is next to the white, which is this black one right here. Let's verify it. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, you know what? It's this one right down here. Okay. That black wire is going to go to red. You know what, I could probably just put a pin on this one that's missing and put it in place. Just put it right onto this wire. Let me go grab a pin. Not sure which size it is. I think it's 093. an 093. So we're just going to put that right onto this black wire. Okay, plug this in to make sure we put it in the right spot. It goes right here. Okay, we are in. Okay, so now our ground and our 2 service switches are hooked up. So that is done. We are left with 1 extra ground wire, which I don't see using for anything. I'm just going to cut it right down here so that we have some left over in case we need it for something. So I'm going to zip tie these together like this. Oh, I want to heat these 2 connectors real quick. Okay. All right. Okay, now let's get the coin counter number 2 hooked up to the knocker solenoid. The instructions require me to put in a 1 amp fuse, slow blow fuse on the power wire side. So I have a fuse holder there, got a 1 amp fuse here. So we are going to take find a red wire. Okay, I've got a huge mess going on. But let's get a red wire here, and we need to solder it onto pin number 8. But on the player 2 side, which is H, I think. So I'm taking this off. We need to go to pin number 8, but on the opposite side. Feed this through the hole. I'm going to try to solder this while holding it. As soon as I find my solder, here it is. Let's see what I can do here. And try not to burn myself. Okay, we're good there. Now we can run this wire over to the fuse holder. and our zip tie or two. Probably can't see what I'm doing in here. Okay. Now I need to take a wire from there over to the knocker. Now, it goes on the side of the knocker. There is a little resistor in here. The side with the stripe is the positive side. I think it's a resistor. I don't know what it is. Not good at that stuff. Diode, maybe? Diode, that sounds right. This, I'm going to tin the wire first. So I'm going to take a little solder and put it on the end of this wire, because there's already solder on that knocker. So we'll just coat that with some solder. A little bit more solder on it. Okay, our fuse is in. I did that wrong. Oh boy, screwed up. That was supposed to be my power wire. So now I need to redo that. So now I'm going to take my 12-volt yellow wire over to there, and then what we'll have to do is just take this and change it to the other side. So I screwed up. I'll do that off camera. Let me put this red wire over to the other side of the knocker, and this yellow wire goes to the fuse. So let me take care of that, and I'll come back and show you it. Okay, it was actually a pretty easy fix. What I did was I took the yellow wire over to here. I left the red wire on the bottom going to the coil, and then the other red wire goes over to my pin number 8, which is H on the other side. So now, since I have the soldering gun on, let's see if we can't fix this interlock switch for the back door. I have 2 different brackets here, and this is the style that we're going to use. This goes right here, but I need to take the wires off of here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this interlock switch, and we'll just transfer them right over, one at a time. Then we don't have to worry about trying to label it or anything like that. Ooh, that's hot. So this is our top terminal. Probably have to cut the wire and re-splice it. See that patented move there with my mouth. All right, so then we'll do the next one down. Make sure I'm doing this right. The holes in this terminals aren't big enough, so we're just going to have to solder it on the outside. This is kind of a real pain in the butt. So I want to get some solder onto there first, and hopefully we can just get this soldered right on. Hopefully you guys can see. I wonder when I originally tested this cabinet if that's why nothing turned on. Maybe I didn't see the interlock switch dangling inside the cabinet and it was in the off position. Because I remember when I tested it, the monitor didn't come on or anything. This is not easy to do with only two hands. Okay, one more. Then we can mount this. Come on. This terminal's a little dirty on this one. Okay. Grab a couple screws. I don't know if that's not in the right place. I need to bring it out farther. And I'm going to bring it down to here. Should be good. All right, I think I'm going to end this video. This is part number 11. We're almost done with all the wiring. We need to get the power brick in here. We got to fix a couple things on the power brick. I want to tie up a few more of these wires. We need to change this wire for the monitor. But other than that, we are really close to getting ready to fire this up and see what happens. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. This is part number 11 of Qbert Restore. If you guys like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. And other than that, I will see you guys later.